Here we go. My favorite trail system just opened up 3 days ago on July 1st. Today is July 4th, and I call this my Freedom Ride. I always try to get out and ride 4th of July weekend, or at least for sure 4th of July. Gate is open. This trail system is under a seasonal closure because it gets so much snow and then it takes a while for the snow to melt off. So the trail maintenance crews, the Forest Service and whatnot come up here to clear out any trees that have fallen down and then just check over the conditions of the trail. Make sure all the snow is melted out and any of the areas that are north-facing slope slow melt out on the snow, that snow is melted out, and any spots that tend to stay really wet are somewhat dried up. It's been a couple of years since I've been up this trail this direction. Last year I came down the trail. Up here a little ways we have a bridge where we cross over the river, and then we're on the far side of the river, of course, and then we cross back over the river, through the river, and I'll link in a description below of a little haphazard incident that I had the last time I went through that water crossing on my DRZ 400. It was not a fun day. I didn't get hurt or anything, but I took a little bath in the river, and so did my DRZ. And it took about 3 hours to get the DRZ dried out to where it would run again. And ever since that incident, I have a new respect and a little bit of a new fear for water crossings like that. You can see the river over there to the right. I pretty much retired my DRZ 400 from trail riding. And early this year I did a bunch of upgrades, maintenance to it, and one of the things I did was switch it back to stock gearing, which is 1544. And that gearing does not work well on trails. I've had the DRZ since 2006 and had been running 1447 on the bike for about 2 years, probably technically just one riding season. I had a 2012 KTM 500 EXC. I don't remember if that era was designated as an EXC-F or just an EXC, but it was a street plated version, dual sport version. I sold it. After partway through my second year of ownership. I just didn't ride it much anymore after moving away from all my riding buddies. And then I got the hankering to have another KTM back in early 2019. And I bought the bike that I'm riding today, which is a 2019 450 EXC-F. 6 days. And in 2019, the only way to get the 450 is to buy the 6 days version. Lots of routes through this section too, and sort of interspersed all along this trail there's some route sections. Many years ago I did a dual sport event over in this area, and back then the event was really small, probably only 40 riders or so, and a couple of times that route took any of the more advanced riders that wanted a little bit more fun and challenge. It took us through some of these trails. But the Forest Service was okay with us doing that, or I shouldn't say us, but the host of the event, because there was so few number of riders. Oh, I hit a little root there. shot me off to the left side just a bit. Kind of riding a little bit of a mellow pace today since I'm out here riding solo. Ah, the trail crew. Okay, that was cool. Having the forest guy, Sam is his name, ride my bike across for me. That crossing scares me now. And I think it was probably a little bit deeper today than it was when I went across with my DRZ. It was later in the season, so the water was a little bit lower. But even back then, I thought that time was higher than I had ever seen it. So on the far side of where I am now, there's a big, relatively deep hole. I was kind of scoping that out after I took off my helmet and walked down there and saw that it was the trail crew on the other side. So I went across, talked to them, and told them about the trees that were down on the trail that I turned around and bailed out on. This is probably my favorite section of this trail. Nice and flowy. I walked across that creek 3 times, and the second time when I was coming back to where my bike was, I didn't do such a graceful crossing and stepped on a rock that was just a little bit deeper in the water, had more water over the top of it, and my left foot got pretty wet. I can feel my foot sloshing around in some water in my boot. Oh well. So this is the crossing that this one's never scared me. Because there's just a small channel where the water runs through and it just sort of pools up over here and pools up over there. And the Forest Service guys said they thought this one was worse. One of the guys said he's been swimming in this once already. Okay, I lost my momentum there. Now my feet are both soaked. Wow, this is deep. That is up to the bottom of my brake rotor. Holy crap. But at least we have a rock right there to step on and one right there. Holy crap, that's like a deep hole right there. I'm not going to come back through this way for sure. Well, like I said, with switchbacks, holy smokes, it's up to the bottom of the engine. There's another trail junction. Wow. My feet are going to be a wreck tonight. Blah. My left foot took the brunt of it. That was really deep. Yeah, it was pretty nice of the Forest Service guy to offer to ride my bike across. and he said that they were just taking a morning break where they were at. I guess they were heading back this direction, because he said if I wanted them to ride my bike across that one, that just to wait there and they would. But he mentioned those rocks, and I thought, yeah, I should be okay. I've been across that late in the season, like September time frame, where it's just barely a trickle. And once we get back across the river here, this trail gets a little bit rocky in places again. Here's a neat little wooden boardwalk, followed by a bunch of blocks embedded in the trail tread. Fall riding up here is probably my favorite because the weather starts to cool off. There's generally been a few rains before they close the trail in October, so there's very minimal dust, and traction is spectacular because of the dirt being damp from rains. Fall colors are starting to change. There's a lot of tamarack, also known as, I think, western larch trees up here, and the needles on those change color like a deciduous leaf tree, and the needles fall off. So before the needles fall off, they've turned golden brown, and you can pick out the trees across a valley and know which ones they are. It's really pretty. That's the same trail crew that I talked to 2 weekends ago. They were camped down below, about 3 miles or so from the trailhead. They arrived there on a Saturday, and they were there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and when I came back through the second time Tuesday, they had packed up and left. Today, he said they were camped out, grab first gear, at a little guard station up here. There's sort of an old cabin. Up here, the trail forks off in a couple of different directions again. One way goes out to the site of an old fire lookout. Another direction makes a loop out by two small mountain lakes. There's another little offshoot that takes you out about a mile or so to another lake. That's just an out and back trail. So I always forget about this little spindly creek crossing. Alrighty. Then we poke along just a little ways up here.